back to Japan, where today we're going to be talking about a song that I find disappointing in so many ways. If you enjoy this song, enjoy it regardless of anything that I'm about to say. And you know what, if the artists enjoyed making it and they enjoy playing this music, then good for them as well. It's not actually terrible in many ways that I'll also cover. However, if I come across something that I just find cynical or disappointing, it's my job as a reviewer to call it out. So we're going to be talking about Nippon Kara Konnichiwa, the new song by, let me try and remember this, it's BABYBEARD, isn't it? Even the title is a bit of a problem. So we're going to break this song down in three ways. First of all, what it is, then what's the problem, and three, what really can we do to move forwards from this? Well, what it is a fairly simple thing. It's a pop rock song, quite catchy in places as well, performed by two girls with the third member doing screamo over the top of that. Third member is the BABYBEARD member, and he basically dresses up as a maid and he does a sort of comical thing where he dances and does screamo over the top of it. Now you might remember this as he is the guy originally of Lady Baby. He was with the group for their formative first few years and most notably did the song Nippon Manju with them, which you're probably starting to realise is quite similar in a lot of ways. Nippon Kara Konnichiwa is the first song, as far as I'm aware, to come out as a single from the band BABYBEARD, maybe their first song at all. However, this is not to discount the fact that originally Lady Beard, trying to remember all these combinations of the words beard and lady, had been with Deadlift Lolita for a while in between, and had obviously also released some other songs with Lady Baby, so he's kind of had a career off and on for a while. This is not to say that he just pops up and does nothing in between. However, let's get on to the problems with this song. Now, I'm not going to discount, as I said, that the song is relatively catchy, and also that the video has kind of a fun little feel to it. There were some nice little moments in there as well. It's not a badly made creation altogether. However, the first of my complaints you've probably already picked up is on the fact that this feels like a direct rehash of Nippon Manju that came out 6 years ago. And that song came out to great success. It's now got about 33 million views, which for a quirky little song from Japan is actually quite a lot. So it does feel a little bit cynical that he suddenly restarted with a band who basically has the exact same setup as Lady Baby had at the time, and done a song that has almost exactly the same message. It's just here's some Japanese cute stereotypes and a welcome from Japan. It just feels like rehashing the exact same thing. And I'm not saying that other people don't do that, but when you've got something like this where basically it is obviously playing for a viral quality, yeah, it starts to feel cynical. It doesn't feel so much like it is about the music as just trying to reclaim a past success. But of course, that's not to be criticised if it does it successfully. So does it do it successfully? It's not bad in its own right, but no, it doesn't. When the original song came out, Nippon Manju, I say the original song because I do feel that they're kind of peas in a pod, that was back at a time where it felt kind of novel. There wasn't a lot of time, only a few years really, between the creation of baby metal and of Lady Baby, and bands like Bandmaid also came around, sort of only a couple of years before Lady Baby as well. So that whole juxtaposition of having the cute with the rock was a big movement in Japan at the time, and anyone who could put a fresh spin on that was certainly getting some credit. And having a big guy dancing around in a really kind of upbeat, energetic way and adding a screamo energy to it was a really cool thing to do. Well, I mean, whether you call it cool or not, it worked. It had a shock value, it caught people's attention, and that's why they got 33 million views for that. However, now it feels really old hat. It does feel like an old band trying to come out and recapture their songs and just not doing them as well. That's further elevated by the fact that he had moved on to doing things like Deadlift Lolita. I appreciate that wasn't going to run forever. That's maybe something for a separate video. He'd gone on to doing different things, and even Lady Baby, who obviously aren't involved in this project, they'd gone on to doing other things. Now, their later iterations, they went through 3 clear different iterations, and I would say their last iteration was a very good development of that mixture of pop and metal. They had obviously the now passcode member Emily doing the screamo stuff, and that kind of worked really well. They managed to develop their sound through that, and they still had the pop elements but managed to more effectively mix them in with the metal and the harder elements. This just feels like resetting and going back to something that we've done before and we've done better. So my first criticism, it feels like a rehash to claim past glory and not do it as well. See, I appreciate that Lady Baby had to develop their sound partly because of the fact they lost the member in Lady Beard, and I believe that wasn't anyone's fault. I think it was, from what I read, it was something about he had to move out of the country for some reason, something to do with a visa expiring. I might be totally wrong on that, that's just kind of what I heard. But yeah, they didn't break up on any bad terms or anything, but because they didn't have them anymore, they had to develop their sound. However, when they developed their sound, it was kind of a benefit because that initial shock value thing of having the screamo over the top of the pop, I'm going to ask, is that a musically effective thing? Now, I'm all about blurring genres, mixing genres together in music, as I've pointed out many times before. However, pop is a genre about happiness, about sort of bouncy clarity, and screamo is all about sort of giving that hardcore energy, giving across that sort of intensity. It's almost got a panicky vibe or an angry vibe to it. So, yeah, you can do shouty stuff for pop, but it is probably the worst mix of two things that just don't go together so well. So the main reason it worked, and the main reason they got 33 million views for that first song but never managed to recreate that glory on any of their other songs, is because of the fact that it was about the fun, it was about the shock value of seeing that and about it being novel, and you can't just run off novelty forever. Now, bringing Emily in, she is more, I hate to say it, but she is a more talented person at doing the screamo stuff. Ladybeard, he kind of does it because it's a fun thing, and he's definitely got the on-screen presence for it. However, she was more suited to them, and I think she managed to give a more musical quality to the screamo stuff, and so their sound refined, and it just started to work over time. So the other problem about going back to this in this song, Nippon Kara Konnichiwa, is the fact that musically it was never something that was really worth revisiting for its musical quality. This song, as catchy as it is not going to stand the test of time, and I hate to say it, would be a better song, maybe not as funny, maybe not as novel, not that it's, like I say, novel anymore, but it would be a better song if his parts were just taken out and the two other members were just allowed to do a cool pop rock duet. Yeah, it may be a bit generic, but it would be catchy and it would work, and the lyrics would still be basically as funny as they are. I would say the lyrics are hugely funny. They do, again, themselves retread some ground, but they kind of got a quirky fun to it. So, rather than just being cynical, what do I really see as the way forwards? Not just for music, not rehashing this again, but for him. Well, by all accounts that I have, and like I say, I don't really know a huge amount about the fella, but I heard he's a nice guy, so I obviously want good things for him. I think what he needs to do now is what a lot of Japanese celebrities do who got famous off of, shall we say, a bit of a flash in the pan thing, which is that he needs to maybe go into television or advertising. He's got, like I say, the screen presence for that. I think he could do something cool with that. I don't know, maybe he has before. Certainly you would make a lot more money out of that than you do from music these days. But yeah, I think he needs to go into something like that, because I just don't feel, I mean, if he joined a metal band, he could join a metal band and do that, but I don't think doesn't sound like that's really what he wants to do. He seems to enjoy pop, so, you know, maybe it's cynical, maybe we should just say, actually, maybe I'm being cynical, maybe say, well, look, as I said at the beginning of the video, if he enjoys doing it, he can keep on doing it, but if he is going to keep on doing this pop slash screamo thing, they need to get much more creative with the writing. They need to push some kind of boundaries to make it seem like there's a reason for it being here, and they certainly don't need to rehash the exact message of a previous song, whilst also forming a band that looks a lot like the band that got you famous. You know, it's too obvious a rehash, I'm sorry. I mean, let's look at, for example, at Kyary Pammy Pammy. I mean, she's an artist who I've got a lot of respect for, who I think a lot of people would say got famous more off of her image and her sort of style than she did off of necessarily being musically talented, although her singing has definitely come a long way over the years. Now that her fame's kind of gone down a little bit, you know, she does a lot of TV stuff that I'm sure makes her money. She keeps herself relevant in that sense. But as she keeps on doing music, she is still adding experimentation. It's not all rehashes, and certainly the messages of the songs kind of change a little bit. Yeah, there's probably some people saying, oh, to me, she's kind of samey. But I think there's more variation in what she does than what we're seeing between Nippon Manju and Nippon Karakimashita. I mean, even their names are quite similar. I didn't really get the enjoyment that I felt I should have out of a song that had a kind of catchy chorus and a fun video, and I want them to go and do something more creative, because if this is genuinely what they're aiming towards, if this is genuinely what they think is going to work, you run out of ideas. So those are my opinions. As always, get in the comments to tell me what you think, and until I see you hopefully very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao ciao.